Ladies and gentlemen, it is time! We have been oh so patient. We are finally back on land and ready to go. And I've got to say, Toronto, beautiful city, beautiful crowd. I can already see you a little bit hyped up at the arena today. How are we feeling? Oh, that makes my heart sing, it really does. But we have a game to get underway. It is time on the main stage for two teams to throw down. Introducing first, here's the Seattle Surge. Simp, Mack, Accuracy, and Pred.
And hopefully nobody is sick this time, but you can see it is all game faces across the board for the Seattle Surge, who have been surging through Major 3 qualifiers and looking to get their first W against the hot New York Subliners.
There's no flu game this event right here. Take a look at him. Pred, Mack, Accuracy, and Simp. But my eyes are going to be all on Pred. The man is coming from APAC, and he plays like he has a chip on his shoulder. But Bryce, I'm looking for New York, man. Let's go ahead and bring the Subliners out.
Well, you're very right there, Belly. You can't have a game with just one side. So, let's find out who they're playing against. A team in the ascendance, ready to try and upset the rest of the league. Their opponents, the New York Subliners!
That's amazing.
Crim, Paulehx, Hydra, and Kismet.
Take a look at him. Crim is welcomed by his sons in the crowd, and they're absolutely loving it. But I'm also loving it. This team has been on a tear lately, winning the Pro-Am Classic and beating great teams in the qualifiers. But my eyes, just like I said, it was going to be on Pred. It's going to be all on Paulehx. Once he joined his roster, they've looked entirely new. But New York Subliners, they want to get a big win. I'm really looking at this first hardpoint game. Bryce, enough talking, man. Let's get this game underway.
Yes, it is time. Land is upon us. The game is ready. Seattle Surge and New York Subliners over to our casters, Lando and Standy.
Thank you so much, Bryce. Oh my goodness. Let me just say, for the folks who are watching at home, this venue is absolutely unreal. Toronto have gone and done everything right when it comes down to this Major 3. Jay, we have got a great game on our hands to kick this major off. Seattle Surge, New York Subliners. You're rocking the yellow today? Maybe in honor of,
no, don't worry about it. No,
right.
I'm not biased. Don't worry about it. This match is going to be insane. Seattle, so far throughout stage 3, they were dominant in respawn, 6-2 in hardpoint, and then 5-0 in control. And then the opposite side for NYSL, for me, I think that NYSL are the best hardpoint team in the game. The control kind of lacked off. They go 3-2 throughout the qualifiers, but you got to keep in mind, they lose to OpTic and they lose to Atlanta. So when you take a look at our maps and modes, the biggest thing for me on the side of NYSL has to be this map number 1. Like I said, best hardpoint team in the game. You have to come out and show it on a Bocage because it's not like Seattle are going to be scared. They were able to take down Atlanta FaZe on this map, and it was Atlanta FaZe's best map. So this is going to be an absolute battle. I felt like whoever walks away with that map number 2 should be able to walk away with the series.
Yeah, and more specifically, right, in regards to the vetoes, we were talking about it coming into this. Like, are we going to see both of these teams just square up to kick off this major, right? Are they going to be able to really both choose that Bocage? And it is indeed true. These teams, they're squaring up, Jay. They've got all the confidence in the world, and they have the right to feel that way. Both of these teams have been on the rise as of lately, but it's about that time. Toronto, make some noise. It is our first match of the weekend. And it's about to be a legendary one at that. As we kick things off on the cage, it feels like the best way to do it. Seattle Surge, New York Subliners, you see the records there. But Jay, both of these teams have been on a tear as of late on this very map.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Seattle, throughout stage 3 qualifiers, they were able to win this map 3 times. The 3 times they played it, they go undefeated on this map. On the opposite side for NYSL, ever since they added Kismet to this lineup, they have just been playing at a totally different pace. So let's just get into it. One thing that NYSL really do great on this map is break hardpoints. They're #1 in break percentage on this map. Seattle Surge needs to make sure that they're holding down their hardpoints.
Yeah, and one guy that really the New York Subliners got to be aware of is the man that we just saw for a moment on the screen. Pred has been a man on a mission, most recently for Seattle. And Jay, the one thing too is that it's been the dynamic duo. You got like the number 2 and the number 8 KDs overall throughout this qualifier on that Seattle side with the Rooks.
That's massive for them because you got to keep in mind Seattle Surge throughout stage 2 went kind of down. But when you have your young SMG players, both of these guys are up for Rookie of the Year. They have just been stepping up ever since stage 3. But early on into this game, NYSL do a great job of getting a good amount of time off of this P1 hardpoint. Now you're going to force the rotation from the Seattle Surge. They do have the spawns, but with NYSL gaining that much time off P1, they can challenge this from the front.
They definitely can. As Accuracy is able to shut down Crimsix to kick off this hill. A solid start for the NYSL side, but Seattle, they've thinking about the long game. They've prepared themselves for the rotation. As Accuracy looks to soak up all of these seconds, he's really relying upon the young guns to do the damage around the map, and so far, they've been doing exactly that. Mack right now at 4-4, hunting, searching, lingering, as we actually do see a teammate come through for New York. Back and forth we go, but it looks as if the Subliners do prefer to go for the spawns, and now they've got that to look forward to.
Yeah, the only thing that gets scary is if Seattle are going to be able to at least gain good time off of this P2 hardpoint. Now with NYSL spawning out towards back 10, they have to try to get this remaining time, and that's a way to do it with 3 kills down in the feed. Kismet's just going to push his way right on through the tools, finds that first kill. He's trying to flip these spawns for his teammates. Crim finds the second as well. All of Seattle spawning close towards that back window, but it should be NYSL coming out on top for these spawns.
And that's the scary part, right? If you're Seattle, you just never know where Kismet is going to linger. Jay, like we said, ever since he has joined this team, this roster has seen, a number of different improvements in every single category of the game. Makes the play right there, the unselfish one at that, and now he's got his teammates in the more preferred position. Crim off to a hot start on this Bocage, eventually drops as Mack looks to apply the pressure. Nice little double there for him.
Oh, and a huge double followed up by Kismet as well to secure the spawns and the hill for NYSL. Now with 30 seconds left, all of Seattle trying to break this from the front. Kismet does push out, finds one before he does get traded. And now with 25 seconds left, if you're Seattle Surge, you want to try to contest this. You don't want to give up this much time on this P3 hardpoint, but you need to make sure that you're controlling the map, keeping those spawns for that barn hill.
See what they can do with this. Trades back and forth. Final 10 seconds. Look to tick away. Oh my goodness. And Hydra with an excellent gunfight victory there versus Mack. Has had an excellent performance so far throughout the major 3 qualifiers. Kismet trying to make the play once again. But as we said, Jay, there's been a number of different players stepping up for the Subliners, and really off of these new additions, Hydra has only elevated his game that much more.
Now off the rotation, just look at the positioning of Hydra. He's going to be able to sneak his way into the back of barn, break on into the hill, and flip the spawns for NYSL. Massive plays coming in from Hydra to get that early break on towards P4. Now NYSL can continuously grow this lead. So they have to make sure they're watching every single cunt. Paulehx and Hydra are able to find 3 kills in the feed. Last player up is going to be Mack towards the backside. Crim does a great job of taking down Simp, but so far New York are coming out on top of these trades. 25 seconds left.
And you see, they're just getting rewarded for making the smart plays, for making the long routes. Constant SMG presence, not just in the front of the hill, but also in the back. Seattle somewhat struggling with that through our first set of rotations, but we've still got 1 more hard point left throughout our first 5 as we get ready to rock over toward the river. Kismet again trying to apply that pressure towards Seattle spawn. Well, it doesn't work out. It is still a battle in the backside. Great work from the ARs there of New York. Paul and Porter, good work at least to shut down 1, but still Hill lays vacant for the time. Both teams still battling for position.
Yeah, Crim has to try to go massive towards the back end, because his teammates are going to be able to soak this time up. You have 1 player from Seattle who's going to start spawning out towards 10, so Crim staying alive is doing everything he needs to do for his team secure these spawns. Now up by 50 points, 35 seconds remaining on this P5. You're going to see Seattle trying to attack this from bottom grandmas and trying to flip these spawns. Mack and Sib and Accuracy combined for 4 in a row. NYSL now spawned all the way across this map to 25 seconds. Should go in the hand of Surge.
I know often sometimes players aren't looking at that scorecard, but right now for Seattle, they got to take a look at that and realize, hey, we've got to get this time, and we've also got to, I guess you could say, perform a little bit better, turn up, because Subliners have come to play on this Bocage. As we said, both teams love this map for the opening. It would be a huge damper on either side if they were to drop this opening HP. But Jay, as we fly in now for the second set of rotations, what have you liked more so far for the Subliners, and what does Seattle need to do to get back in this game and maybe take the lead for themselves?
Like you said, New York, they're just doing the dirty work. They're doing the fundamentals, having 2 players off the rotation, and then like I said before the map even started, they are #1 in break percentage, so the SMGs are coming to play. You have Hydra sitting at 12 and 10, but then on the opposite side, Kismet 18 and 19, already at 30 engagements for that SMG player. So for them to just continue playing the way that they are, hold down your spawns, make sure you're executing your breaks. For Seattle, this where it has to be controlling these spawns, not allowing a lot of time on P1, and so far they are answering the call. They've been able to get at least 20 to 25 seconds off this P1, and they're controlling the spawns. This is the way that Seattle get back in the game.
Yeah, this is the way that they do it. Everybody trying to be prepared. Everybody focused on what the game plan is right now for the Surge. Let's step aside and see how the comms sound mid Bocage.
I'm going top house. You could go back. Get there right. Two dead.
Showing time.
Hold right. We have to hold right.
Yeah.
Go two. Guys, hold right.
I will. I'll let you know when I spawn.
He's in tools. Two tools. One bottom mouse and tools, okay? Big heal here, guys.
AG, I'm feeling bottom mouse. You have to clear the right, okay?
I got nade. I'm staying down, guys.
One top barn, dead. Clear the right, AG.
I'm on the barn.
One's water tank. I think he's running up T1. I don't see him.
Oh, one shot hole, absolute.
Drop fall.
Trip.
Close time.
T2. One more time.
Yeah, T2 in front of T1.
I'm staying down.
He's staying down.
He's not moving. He's picked me. He's challenging you. On the tree. Nice. Stay left. Could be fun. Could be going. Get in his bug. Big heal. I'm going bottom mouse.
Yeah, I'm jumping out. I went tools.
All day bomb. One shot.
One shot, you play. All day bomb.
Oh, what are you bomb? Two front out. One's water tank weak, okay? He's gonna get bonded.
I'm trying to over 10. I'm trying to help you.
Nice.
I think, water tank.
Stay down.
I'm going top barn. It could be inside barn here.
Nice. I'm looking for water tank for you. Water tank, one shot. Absolutely. Nice.
Running across the barn ledge.
Right somewhere.
I think top house. I went tools.
I'll tell you what, Jim, we came into that listening. Seattle was down like 60, 70 points, and then, we end the listening, and now they've got the advantage coming into this next hill.
It's just been great work from Seattle Surge to basically push out the spawns every single time they were gaining time off of that P1. And then they were able to chain it to that P2. NYSL, who are such a great breaking team, could not break into that P2 hardpoint. Now they're able to get all 4 dead in the feed. Seattle Surge have turned up on this second half of the rotation. Controlling spawns, and Simp is not missing. Finds that 2-piece. Accuracy finds the third, but look at the spawns. The spawns actually do flip for NYSL, with them putting so much pressure on towards the middle of the map. Does not matter. Accuracy, the Iceman on a 5 spree, cuts down 2 of those players and secures those spawns for the Surge.
And he's not far away from the glide bomb either. Something New York, throughout the midst of all this chaos, has got to be prepared for, and thankfully, the Frenchman is there to deliver a huge kill there for the Subliners in. Well, they get awarded with the final 5 seconds. Again, because of that flipping of spawns, it now puts Seattle in the more preferred position. At times, Jay, teams have figured out the method of the madness. They've been able to lock down this barn hardpoint for quite a few seconds, mine it for all of its resources, and now the Subliners are going to have to break in from the front. We'll see if Hydra, we'll see if Kismet can help lead the way to that.
And when I take a look at the scores and the stats of both of these teams, you see the SMGs on the side of NYSL, 17 and 19 for Hydra, 24 and 32 for Kismet. But then you see Pred and Mack, 32 and 22, 27 and 25. They have turned up in the second half of this game. NYSL are trying to break into this P4, but they're just making it so difficult for them to do so. Simp going to be the last man up. He gets taken down, so NYSL successfully break in, but there's only 20 seconds left. If you're Seattle, your main focus on flipping these spawns.
Got to be on flipping. Kismet, nice little time with him as he'll really send Mack to the Shadow Realm. Great work there from Kismet for the time, final 8 seconds, but again, it's all about that rotation, as you said. A very mixy one indeed coming up over at Grandma's. Not a ton of square footage to work with, but Grandma does what she can. We'll see if the Subliners can do the same and try to lock down this hard point the best way possible, down by 50, as they look to try to extend this the best way possible. But will it be just another matter of the rookies breaking, the rookies causing problems, issues? Mack getting the information and delivering once more. Great work so far from Seattle as they work their way into Grandma's, and now they've done the work toward the front. Mack continues to deliver, taken down by the nade, but Seattle, they can feel a W coming.
They have just been turning up this entire second half of the rotations. The SMGs are stepping up, 221 to 160. NYSL, even with the better spawns towards the back, cannot find a single second off P5. Just way too much pressure from the Surge from the front side. Seattle able to get right back on it. 15 seconds remaining on this P5. New York need to get in, and from this point on, New York needs to play perfect hardpoint to get back in this one.
It's going to take that and a whole lot more, and just like that, Seattle, they get the favorable trades, and they will walk away with the final few points. Now going to put them at 240. 10 more points. The Subliners have got to dig deep and at least make this as close as possible. Get some momentum, at the very least, coming into this search and destroy. but Mack trying to bury them, trying to put him in the dirt again as Hydra and Crim thankfully combined for 2. But his accuracy continues to play the long game. It spreads out the Subliners for the time. And really you can see the Seattle boys just trying to group up and trying to find that last bit of team push, that last bit of pressure as 3 fall. Paul manages to hold off the Surge boys for the moment.
And Surge is just doing a great job. Just trading the kills when they need to. They can still win off of this hard point. Mack finds a 2-piece, and I think Seattle are going to be able to get it done on P1.
It looks like they could. Seattle, a few long rounds, still battling for those final 3 seconds. Back and forth we go. Sib not able to win that gunfight, but again, it is about the rotation. Seattle thought about P1, but they had somebody go for the long route, and just like that, the game is done. The battle on Bocage between the Titans on this very map, and it will belong to the Surge side.
Surge just came out to play man. First rotation, they came out slow. But then the second rotation, the beautiful chain from P1 to P2 to get themselves back into this game and to take a 15-point lead. And then at that point, NYSL, they're thinking we can bounce back on this P3 hardpoint. We have everyone towards the backside. We are going to secure these spawns. But what Surge were able to do so well is find every single kill before that hill popped, so they flipped those spawns, and they were able to just take 3 hills back to back to back. Great work from Seattle to answer early into this series. And for me, that's exactly what they needed to do, because NYSL, like I said, best hardpoint team in the game, kind of 50-50 in search and destroy. If you're Seattle Surge winning your first hardpoint versus a team like this, now you're going into a search and destroy where they're sitting at 3-3 overall on stage 3, and then they have the control where they were undefeated throughout stage 3. So this is massive, massive first map for Seattle.
Yeah, that's what we said coming into the series. You talked about how the game 1 very much tells the story of what likely will be a very interesting first series to kick off this major. A back and forth affair, but as you said, buddy, it was Seattle Surge coming out hot toward the stretch. I'm not sure the run that they win on, but as you said, man, it was like 3-4 hills. How often do we see that on Bocage go one team's direction?
Never, because it's usually such a mixy map, especially for both of these teams. But the only thing that Seattle were able to do a lot better than NYSL was simply slay. Everyone on the side of NYSL was negative in that map number 1, and playing a map like Bocage, you're not going to see results if you can't get the kills. Mack and Brett really stepped up. I'm pretty sure they both dropped 39 kills in that map number 1. The SMGs came to play today. So far, NYSL started off slow. They need a strong bounce back in the search and destroy.
And that's one thing too, right? Seattle feel like last time that they were at a major with the Major 2 tournament, right, where they were able to come through. They start their tournament off beating OpTic Texas. They go to that crazy Game 5 round 11 versus Atlanta FaZe, and they weren't at full strength.
Yeah,
you and I had the cast. It was Mack on the flute game, and then they run into LAG, weren't able to play with Mack. They felt like they had that tournament in the bag, and like you said, man, it is a great sign if you are a Surge fan, not just to see the team walk away with W's, but to see players like Mack, see those rookies really start to get informed versus a very, very talented New York team on arguably their very best hardpoint map as well.
And the crazy thing is, like when you take a look at the Seattle roster, Pred and Simp are usually the guys. Like throughout stage 3, number 1 and number 2 in the overall KD department, and Mack was sitting at like a 0.8, but Mack on land is a completely different animal. Like I said, almost drops 40 kills in that map number 1 to secure that map for his team. And I feel like for him, with that roster, he is the X factor. When Mack is going above and beyond, they're going to see a lot of success.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Now, I guess it's time to turn our attentions toward this Berlin Search Destroy. We knew Bocage was going to have it all, and really, it absolutely did. A very, very intense battle back and forth. It's like we said, Seattle do claim that. Now coming into this next Search Destroy, I mean, lately it hasn't been, I guess, if we're talking about the New York Subliners it's been a lot about Hardpoint, not a ton about Search Destroy. They have really not seen a ton of success, and when they did, it was like all in round 11s at the Pro-Am.
I'm pretty sure when we watched them in that round 11, on this match specifically, it was when Kismet drops that 3-piece versus OpTic, flanks back alley, gets the most beautiful timing ever. But then you're going up against a Seattle team who don't really find, you find this mode really strong for them as well. Both of these teams are sitting at 50-50 on S&D. But when you take a look at our S&D top performance, obviously the Iceman sitting at a 1.03 for the Seattle Surge. He has tremendous clutch genes in search and destroy rounds. 1v2 and 1v3, him and Insight are just up in the air for me of who's the most clutch player. And then the opposite side for Kismet, just joining the NYSL team, he's been having some crazy search and destroys. Overall KD sitting at a 1.10. it's going to be an absolute battle between both of these guys because they play two different roles. Like aBeZy, he's going to hold down one lane, give the information to his team, and then have them rotate. Kismet's going to be the guy with the SMG in his hand, being super aggressive, giving the information to his team, and potentially always finding that first blood.
And it's funny too, because we go back and forth, right? Accuracy, as you said, known as the Iceman. And I think lately, like for Kismet, you can really put him in, and it's not the same category as players like Accuracy and Insight, but he's right there. I mean, he's been the guy who's been delivering New York these W's in these round 11s. And obviously you see the search and destroy stats there, leading the team right now along with Paul. It feels like in that department. And as we said, Jay, he really has been the difference maker for this team. And a lot of that comes down to, as you've told me a ton of times, the communication. The communication that this guy has is well beyond his years.
Every time we go into a listen and with NYSL, doesn't matter the mode, I feel like Kismet is leading in the vocals because he's such a calm, cool, collected kind of player, especially when you have Hydra and Crim who are just absolutely frantic. Hydra's playing at a fast pace. We know what Crim is all about. But when Kismet is leading this team in the comms, you can just tell how confident he is because he's sitting next to a 3-time world champion, the GOAT in Call of Duty. And the fact that he's leading in those comms are massive for him. He steps up in his gameplay, steps up in the comms, and even maps before picking up that player in Kismet, they were not seeing a lot of success on the majority of these maps. They pick him up, they start winning maps that they never won before, like Tuscan Hardpoint.
And that's interesting too that you talk about it because like how many people will Crim allow to take over the top search and destroy, or really just in general? I mean, how many players are that in the CDL, or rather are there in Call of Duty history that the GOAT is willing to listen to and allow for him really to be instructed on where to go, where to roam throughout the map? Just a credit to what has been a great stretch most recently for the New York Subliners, as we said, our Pro-Am champions. And something to think about as well, I know we've been talking a lot about Kismet, and for good reason. This is also, I think, his first like official major since he's joined the Subliners, since he's actually been back in the CDL. Because what, it was the Pro-Am that he was back at, not in front of a crowd. Ever since then, right, it was at like MW for Paris Legion. This is the first time this guy's been playing in front of a crowd in a very long time.
Yeah, he's looking good doing it. Yeah, even though he is down 0-1 in this series.
Fair enough.
This is where he needs to lead the way for his team in this search and destroy. We know Seattle on their offenses are sitting at 48%. For New York, they're sitting at 46%. But the biggest thing for me is Seattle on defense are 47%, New York are 38%. So that's massive for me on a map like Berlin because you know, if they're attacking B fast, it comes down to a 4-4 retake. Pretty sure Seattle are 55% in that category. But here we go. Berlin search and destroy. Seattle up 1-0 in the series. This needs to be the bounce back for NYSL.
Yeah, you almost feel like it has to be, considering that very scary record for Seattle in those controls. As we said, a 15-1 round count so far throughout Major 3. As we get into the depths of this SD, it is New York starting things off well. Unfortunately, Hydra hits the deck, but that bomb is down over at A. Up to Seattle in the 4v3 retake now.
They find that first blood. You have a player who's going all the way around through backside warehouse. So Mack is going to be the player to watch. He's going to give the information to his team. He spots Paulehx. Unfortunately, does not pick up the kill. So now this might force Crimsix to rat back and potentially save his teammate's life. And at the same time, Kismet beats down Simp. And what goes from a 4v3 is now a 2v2. Make it a 2v1 all on Mack, and his position is going to be known. 10 seconds left. NYSL in the 3v4. Doesn't matter if he picks up that kill. They are able to secure the first round. Just a lot of time wasted right there from Seattle. They had the flank. They had every single angle cut off. Yeah, it was massive. But then Kismet goes massive to find that first blood onto Sib. And in fact, that Paulehx stays alive. It was huge because he picks up a kill and eventually allows Crim to get into the play to close out the round. Massive round win from NYSL in the 3v4.
Yeah, good stuff from New York. And again, it was really all about when Mack was going to strike. Thankfully for the Subliners, but the time that he did, they at least had the numbers. More importantly, they had the time. Plant that objective down nice and early, and from there, Seattle not successful in the retake. But now they'll take a look at their first attacking round here at the Toronto Major. Appears they've got beat, maybe in their line of sight when it comes down to this opener, as it is an early trade back and forth. Sib and Kismet out to kick off this round number 2. And it very well could be that bomb making a rotation as well, Jay.
Bomb is slowly trying to approach towards A. They're going to be able to get this down. Paulehx has no idea that Mack is going to be planning. So now in the 3v3, 45 seconds to work with. Hydra does spot Pred towards top 3. He was trying to work for that kill for about 20 seconds, but eventually Pred comes out on top, finds that kill on the Crim, potentially finds 2, but no. Hydra with the trade. Now in a 2v2 with 30 seconds left. Mack takes down Paul. Hydra left versus Accuracy and Mack.
The French Phenom, 1v2, still also has to defuse that bomb. So many things to do, so many things to think about. accuracy from one side, Mack from the other, and as the time continues to tick away, feels like so often players are going to know exactly where accuracy is hiding, over toward the train yard, but the veteran manages to stay alive. A great little round in response there out of Seattle. Keeping things in mind, Mack still on that spree.
Even though Seattle gets first blooded right there, I think it was just great patience for them to just slow down their game, try to potentially play for a pick, or eventually sneak that bomb plant onto A, because that was a massive play for Mack to get that bomb down, because now it's all on NYSL to try to execute the break. But then Pred goes massive from top 3 to at least even up the numbers. And Mack through the flank. On mid steps, turns it into a 2v1. So tied 1-1, Mack on a 3 spree. NYSL looking like they're gonna take this bomb over towards B. You have one player in, Hydra, who's gonna be the island player. First gunfight's gonna come in, but Mack not able to find that kill. Kismet gets out with his life.
I don't know how Kismet's able to stay alive despite all of the bullets that Mack put in with the automaton, but still, massive props to him, and it very well could net a first blood in his team's favor. After some heroics, some acrobatics toward the bomb site, as Pred able to strike early, and boy, does he want to get aggressive. Instantly goes for the flank, spots somebody just to his right that he whipped too quickly. Well, time to find out. Brings accuracy now into a 1 versus 2. Iceman early on in this S&D. Can he go big? 28 seconds.
And Hydra, he spots him. It's only a matter of time before Hydra finds that kill. Massive, massive round from NYSL, especially on Hydra, because he was the player who finds that first blood. He sits on the island towards that A side. Eventually, when they get that bomb down is when Hydra's time to strike. Finds that first glit into fire, even though Pred sneaks his way into bottom P2, and eventually evens up the numbers. NYSL just came out on top in the trades, and then in 2v1, Hydra still roaming around, is able to spot accuracy on the flank. NYSL now up 2-1.
Yeah, still like the strategy is plant the bomb down as fast as you can. Yeah, that seems to be the way that this Berlin has started off. We'll see if Seattle will keep up that same strategy, that same blueprint. He's looked through the eyes of Kismet. He'll like to make his way into P2. Very well could be involved in these early engagements. Stuns and nades very well could be distracting the subliner side, but decent presence inside of middle. As look to cut from one side to the next. Pred not going to get spotted while that plant is not going to go down just yet. Over at the A site, Mack hesitates, and well, that could be an opportunity for Kismet. Slides to the back. All 4 players, I was going to say, alive for the moment, but just like that, 2 fall instantly.
Kismet absolutely finesses, but look at the positioning of Pred. Pred is going to be that player flanking through backside plat. And he finds the kill onto Kid, so now you have a free A bomb plant, but you want to stay alive from Hydra. Dipping and dodging, sliding and gliding. Able to get out of that position, so now it's all on Crim. They know that he has to potentially be flanking in the 1v3. Simp spots him. Simp going to go for the challenge, not fully commit. It's going to allow for his teammates to at least assist him a little bit. Because eventually they collapse on the Crim and Seattle Surge. So far, have been dominant on their air attacks on offense.
They have indeed. Mack off to a great start throughout these first few rounds, 4-1. Also finds the big one there on the Crimsix. As we said, it's just about, like you said, getting the bomb down quick. We saw for a moment Seattle look to hesitate, but they get that one down, and really from there, New York not able to establish the retake in time. As we talked about, for New York, this search destroy means a lot for them. Really, this series in general means a lot for them, Jay. Just in regards to points, they still sit right now at 11th in the standings. A W here puts them in good position to really tie for that 9th place position. Same thing for Seattle, a huge match in regards to points, but Pred on the flank despite his teammates dropping. Pred will reply absolutely perfectly. Oh, he turns around, but at least sets up Sib. Now makes it a 1v1. Sib versus Paul, and plenty of time on the clock.
Such a massive round for both of these squads. Paulehx is on the attack, so he has to pick up that bomb and play for that objective. But Sib just gonna walk around backside train and is at least able to spot him towards back out. So now both of these players know their positioning. Paulehx still has not picked up that bomb. So if you're Sib, you want to just play this calm, cool, and collected. You still get the indication of when he is going to pick that up. And time is starting to tick. Paulehx is able to spot him, but Sib comes out on top. Massive, massive round from Seattle, 2v4. Pred finds that 2-piece. He gets taken down, and then Sib finds that trade, turns it into a 1v1, and plays it super confident. Great angle from that train station to come out on top in that round.
And again, it's the rookies. It's the rookies who make the play.
Massive.
Obviously, like I said, they storm into the site, do New York, but Pred quickly stops that plant from going down, and obviously gives the comm there over to Sib. He goes big in the 1v1. I mean, we talked about a number of different matchups, whether it's vets, whether it's sensational SMGs. You've also got to think about Paul versus Sib throughout this series. And right there in that duel, the rookie comes out on top. Thankfully gets out of dodge, sitting on that force spree, does not want to give away his life easy.
And you just see what Seattle did right there. They're playing off the information that aBeZy just gave to him. Only one player crosses towards A, so let's start off with the early push towards B, but wrap this back. They should put themselves in a man advantage, but NYSL, they did a great job of just not slowing down, taking control of the middle of the map. Kismet finds that first blood. Sib should be able to even up and make it a 3v3 now. NYSL are going to be all stacked towards this top backfire area.
Oh, great shot coming through from Hydra. Taking the head off of Sib. Is it the shoulder spotted from Pred? Kismet somehow able to stay alive once more. The acrobatics from this man is unbelievable and keeps his team in the more favorable spot. But how about the rotation from Pred? Goes for the crossover, takes down Kiz, and now brings it to what is a 1v2 once more for accuracy. 2 players to deal with, 20 seconds on the clock. If he plants this one down fast, he's going to have a free plant, and really, Jay, a great angle really from Warehouse.
aBeZy now in the 1v2. Most players from NYSL are going to decide to split. Hate 2v1s like this. You always want to play the buddy system, so at least you come out on top in the trades. Not want to give one-on-one gunfights. But they're just playing this really slow. Time is starting to tick. 30 seconds left. They're trying to think aBeZy is going to play for a rewrap, potentially put himself in a position to just simply find one kill. No one's going to be close to that bomb either, so it's only 15 seconds left.
Where
playing
is
from
he?
sight.
Oh, the timing! The timing works out perfectly for accuracy,
What a round.
and he can just play the time. Iceman coming out clutch to give Seattle their 4th round of the game. Jay, it was picture perfect. He knew the exact timing that they were going to hop on that bomb. And you can see for New York, they didn't know what hit him. They didn't know where Lamar was hiding.
And that 2v1 right there, if you're NYSL, you need to play that a lot faster.
Yeah, they got to the bomb at 20 seconds.
20 seconds, you barely have any time to work with. At that point, if you're aBeZy, all you have to do is get one kill, especially if you're towards that warehouse side, and then just play your life, because you know the guy is not going to fully commit towards the defuse. But that's definitely a frustrating round for NYSL in a 3v2 advantage once again, and lose the round. So now Seattle 2 rounds away from putting themselves up 2-0 in this series. Look at the aggression from Red. Right in the bottom, P2 finds that first blood onto Hydra, already in the man advantage.
Tosses the nade, gets out of dodge, very well done. They're out of the Aussie to give Seattle once more the numbers. When you want to see NYSL punch, Seattle are right there to meet you blow for blow. A current 3 versus 2, NYSL again working from the back foot as Mack has got some visuals toward the docks. Kismet looks to get down that objective, and thankfully for him, he's got Paul in the back lines. Great work from accuracy. They've singled out Paulehx, Pred, rounding the corner. Great work from him. Kismet now in the 1v3. Makes it a 1v2. Bomb is down, but he does not have a whole lot of room to work with.
And he knows that accuracy is going to be behind him. He actually spots him, and he's going to be able to finesse his way into bottom P2 with his life.
No way.
Accuracy's just going to go right to bomb. We're gonna have Mack who doesn't spot him, and accuracy goes massive. Huge one-on-one to secure the round for the Surge. Right there, Seattle, their game plan was beautiful. They find that early first blood, then even in the 3v2 advantage, you see accuracy's taking his time on that flank, knowing that one player has to be playing towards that top warehouse. Once Paulehx drops, he tells Pred, you can commit towards this gunfight. He finds that kill, and then in the 2v1, even though it got kind of scary there with Kismet sliding his way into bottom B2, accuracy able to get the job done, now puts them at game point.
He should have died like 3 times earlier throughout this search and destroy. The man has taken a ton of damage, but unfortunately, it has not led to many S&D round victories. The total sits at 5 rounds to 2. Advantage Seattle. Can they go up 2-0 to kick this bad boy off once again? Or will New York come through with the reply, Jay?
Off the comms, once again, accuracy is telling them that one player is consistently crossing towards A, so they're just hitting the audible and wrapping it back. Now Paulehx is going to get some information. The players are on this side of the map, but Mack finds that first blood. Pred with the second, now in a 4v2, are going to be Seattle.
Up to the ARs of the Subliners just to keep this one going. Paul and Crim. One toward the street and one over at Cabo. Crim taking a decent amount of bullets, a decent amount of pressure in Seattle. Great teamwork to now bring it to a 4v1 advantage. Now make it a 3v1, and you can write the S&D off. Seattle with a dominant Berlin W off of what was some heroics early out of the rookies, and overall solid W across the board. A consistent effort out of Seattle now to put themselves up 2-0 in the series, Jay.
Seattle just had tremendous ice in their veins. It didn't matter what player was on the screen. Accuracy in the 1v2, 2v3 situations, 4v2 out of the rookies. Pred and Simp go massive in such a big round in that 2v4 situation to put themselves up 3-2. Then the following round, NYSL put themselves in a 3v2 advantage, and they still do not win the round. Seattle Surge, they were just coming out on top with their play calls. You see in their offenses, it was beautiful. Just basically playing off of the information that accuracy was given to them. We see one player cross towards A, we're committing towards B, we're just gonna wrap it right back.
It wasn't anything crazy.
No,
like he's just looking at the cross. It was just working off the information that Berlin provides you with. While it's not a wowing stat line out of accuracy, like you said, Jay, he knew exactly where everybody was at on the opposite end. It felt like a majority of the time, Seattle, when they have those numbers, they can be incredibly lethal, doing a great job when it comes down to the first blood department as well. Now, elevating themselves to a 2-0 start, and this, Jay, is now very scary.
Yes,
if you're a New York fan.
Yes,
why? Because they have got a Berlin control. And how many times have they played it?
0.
Not one.
Big donut.
Not one. That is, that's not fun. Whenever you are looking at an 0-2 scoreline right now to kick off the Toronto Major. But folks, I can tell you this, the matches have only begun. The intensity has only just started. When we come back after the break, it is Berlin Control next up.
The Call of Duty League is brought to you by Game Fuel. Victory in a can.
Upgrade your game with a Scump, the official controller of the Call of Duty League.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is time to take a look at the Scump play of the game, and I'll tell you what, already the Iceman is starting things off well. Jay, a lovely little 1v2 clutch here for him.
Such a massive round, especially such a swing round. To go up 4-2 in the 1v2, NYSL, like I said, they just played this way too damn slow. Like, you have 2v1 situation, you know accuracy, he's gonna put himself in a position just stalling out that clock. But the fact that they get to that bomb site with only 20 seconds left, you both have to double stack it, basically try to body block to secure your teammate on defusing that bomb. But once aggreSy finds that first kill, all he has to do is just play his life. He stuns Hydra as well to stall out more time. He played that absolutely beautiful to secure that round for his team.
Yeah, it was picture perfect there out of accuracy. And now, well, if you're New York, you find yourself in a 2-0 hole, buddy. And like we said, they come into this next control with zero experience when it comes into Berlin, at least in regular matches. I mean, I guess from a New York fan, you're hoping that they've been working on this one quite a bit in the scrimmages.
I definitely am, man. They're sitting at 0-0 on this map.
Sweating a little bit.
It's not going to be easy, though. No. Seattle on this map, obviously at the Pro-Am, they go 0-2. But throughout Stage 3, they go 4-0 on this map. But basically a flawless round count, 12-1, only losing one defense. So this is going to be tough.
Yeah.
Every single player on the side of Seattle Surge are over a 1.1 KD on this map. Like, the way that NYSL so far has answered early into this series, no one is slaying.
No, and that's the thing, right? When it comes down to this series, we're talking about that opening Bocage, the momentum that it gives for either team. Seattle were able to take it, and then they were able to ride that into the search and destroy. Now, with Control Berlin up next, is this where we say goodbye to the Subliners in the winner's bracket already? After just 3 maps, is that how it's gonna go? Or could this be the start of something special? Could it be the start of something new? To quote some High School Musical already to kick off the broadcast, might as well go ahead and do it. But here we go. Control Berlin, Seattle starting things off on the defense, New York on the attack. And Jay, really, when it comes into Berlin, I feel like we don't know what to expect. Attack, defense, everybody can do whatever they want.
Yes, they can, but NYSL so far playing this map pretty well. They put early pressure on towards A, but you had a couple roamers who were trying to win their gunfights over towards B. Sim and aggreSy are able to come out on top in those engagements. So now NYSL have to slow down their offense, complete this A segment. But you see the map control the Seattle Surge are currently trying to play for. aggreSy pushes his way all the way into top tower. Gonna have one player in Kismet who does spot him. And now is gonna slowly try to attack and take control of trains.
Full turn and burn there out of Kismet, so he'll look to try to clear the path, clear the way, as that A zone is all but the Subliner. So an extra minute added on the clock. Live count very much even, despite quite a few stragglers from the Seattle Surge. Ever so carefully making their way into the base. Hydra looks to clear the top tower and spots look at old Mack Melt hanging out toward the train. Kismet and Hydra, good work to solidify that elimination there onto Mr. McKenzie. As Surge continue to push their way forward, NYSL have peeled back the layers and already found themselves inside of that B zone. We'll see what they can do with it.
They just have to shut down this player, and aggreSy going on the flank as he's going to cause them problems. Mack finds one from the front, aggreSy on the flank, and that's going to be all 4 dead. Now Seattle can push up and gain more map control, basically force all of NYSL to try to hit this overextension through water. aggreSy beaming, takes down Paulehx from backside. Trains, Crim is going to be right in front of him. Thinks he climbs the ladder, but he actually does not win the gunfight as well. So that's a massive one-on-one for Crim to secure train side.
And that's just one of the many gunfights you're going to have to be conscious of throughout however many rounds that we are in for here on Berlin. Right, aggreSy is always going to be on the flank, always going to be trying to get toward your tower. And along with that, New York are trapped in the back of their base. A lot of time to play with, but Seattle are going to try to stall them for as long as possible. The farthest pushed up player for the time is going to be Hydra, the Frenchman, trying to lead the Subliners ever so carefully across the map, but everywhere they go, everywhere they turn, Jay, they're dropping like flies.
Yeah, Seattle have everything cut off. One player comes on spawn, he knows that they're going to fully commit towards trying to flanking through fire. Now with 50 seconds left, 15-7 in lives remaining, NYSL simply can't get out of spawn, but this might be the answer they were looking for. 3 down in the feed. You have one player aggreSy, or at least cuts down that player trying to go for that flank. But they should be able to get on this point if they can win these gunfights. It gets scary, but the teammate from Paulehx is going to put them in a man disadvantage. aggreSy takes down the second, and once again, Seattle hold down the line.
And that's just a frustrating moment if you're the Subliners. You cannot afford for a team kill to come in at such a dire moment like that, but they have grouped up. This will be the final hurrah, possibly, as the nade rocks on through. 2 more players now make it 1 sole member alive. Paulehx will drop in Seattle. Answer to kick off their defense. A very well-controlled round, and Jay, really the one opportunity that Subliners get, feels like they threw it away with some team kills.
Yeah, that team kill from Paulehx really set them back because you had multiple players in that position who at least could have assisted you on taking down a couple of these players on the Seattle Surge. As New York do put themselves up by 3 segments, but they need to have a strong defense here. Seattle Surge on this map specifically are 100% on their offensive rounds.
That's so wild.
This is gonna be tough to stop, man.
This is like shades of what, like the kickoff. Like when they had unbelievable numbers on Gavutu. It feels like they really weren't seeing a ton of success on the attacking there. And then they're like, hey, Berlin's in the rotation. Let's go ahead and play this map that without a doubt favors their strong suits. Attacking victories on control. Not many teams can say it, but Seattle absolutely can. A great little lineup there in the feed as New York, the AR specifically, are able to drop 3 straight in the feed, putting Seattle back to the starting line. Simp looks to clear the way over toward the back alley. He'll gain the attention of at least 1, while it's the other members of Surge fighting for every inch over at that A zone, and it feels like they very well could have that pressure as Pred looks to fly.
Yeah, Pred's just gonna fly, try to set up at least a push going towards this B point. As he finds that first kill onto Hydra, so now this is gonna force a couple players from NYSL to start turning around. But accuracy takes down the Crim, so now you see Seattle starting to complete this A segment. First tick is already going to be complete. NYSL are not even going to try to attack this. Pred is going massive on the island, finding kill after kill before he does get taken down by Crim. Now second segment complete. Seattle up by 1 kill in the live department. Once they complete this, they will have 1 minute and 45 to work with. It all just comes down to what kind of position the SMGs can play once they cap this point.
Cap it, New York instantly makes them pay. Surge try to break out of that A zone, and while nothing is delivered, they at least get that extra minute on the clock to work with. Accuracy with a nice pick could lead the charge, as Simp is going to be sent forward. Mack as well looks to join alongside of him, but Kismet delivers with 1. Simp does reveal his position. Paul there to answer. Great work out of the Subliners. Really great work from our observer team to catch that entire little team push that Surge were trying to brew. But this is really what the round comes down to, Jay. It's about that opening, right? The attacking team has got to find that angle, find that chance, and make the defense team pay. Get them down in 3 to 4 kills in a row. As time looks to tick, Seattle playing very patiently.
Yeah, actually just going to take his time. Try to catch a straggler, trying to overextend through trains, and he does so. But Hydra answers with a 2-piece of his own to shut down that pressure from the Seattle Surge. He makes it 3 in the feed. Now that's going to be all 4 dead. Seattle all coming off spawn. Hydra, it's time to attack. Hydra on a 5 spree. If he can pick up this glide bomb, that'll be massive.
Be big for Paco. We'll see what he can do. 30 seconds to work with in Seattle. One last good look at that B zone, but they do not want to feed the Frenchman. They don't want to give him any unnecessary ammo to work with the rest of this control. Now on 6 in a row, Pred ends up getting dropped. And Hydra maybe gives a little call out to Kismet saying like, hey, that probably should have been my kill, but it's all good. 1 player, by the way, has snuck on through. Mack has made his way to the back, and well, he's the only player that happens to be alive. Best of luck to Mr. McKenzie. A lot to deal with, just trying to get a segment on the board. Not able to do so. Defense continues to win out again.
Good work from NYSL to continuously have players towards that train side. Even with the accuracy playing slow in that position, Hydra goes massive in mid P5 to find 3 kills to slow down that pressure from the Surge. Basically shut down their push. So Surge answering the first round with the defense. NYSL do the same exact thing. Both of these teams are tied in tick progression. So now if you're NYSL, what can you try to do at that B point? I'd love to see teams delay push towards that B. But you know, if you do not see success, you're going to give up that map control, and then you have to rotate over towards A. So NYSL are going to do the easy job, just complete this A segment, extend time by a minute.
See what they can do. Meanwhile, Hydra, again, looking for that glide bomb, looking for that 7th kill in a row. That would be big. Like we said, considering the hole that New York finds themselves in for the time, but given the A zone, and they will take it. Pred comes through with the nade, and that will end the spree. Well, it is somewhat of a negative for the Subliners. They at least get A unscathed. Big moment right now for NYSL. Let's step aside and see how the comms sound. Down 0-2. How does the chemistry? Who leads the way? Can they walk away with this round?
Nice.
Yo, come here, Bacali. Wait, Bacali.
Yo, only close. Behind you, train. Behind you, train. One shot. Outer.
Yeah. One's on B back. He's near D1, middle of the open.
Stunned outer. Might hit secret. Outer, D3. Hit secret. 3, D3, Mack dead.
Nice.
Give me a second.
Come here, Bacali.
Yo, back alley.
P5 stun, Lamar going our sidewalk to train.
Okay. Alley, one shot. Sit. Dead.
Nice.
Bacali dead. Nice. Should we get together? Body up.
You're probably gonna repitch again, dude.
Yeah, Bacali, one hit Bacali.
Yeah, Bacali weak. Bacali, back it up on you. And P5, dude. Nice. P5.
For me.
One shot now. Yo, listen to me. We gotta get P5 control. P5.
One more to show you on point. Let me show you. Stay down. I'm coming to you. 18, 17.
I'm going top race.
Listen, I'm gonna work fire slow, okay? Ready?
Yo, clutch set.
Bacali weak.
Clutch set dead.
Nice job. One Bacali control you, Paco.
Bacali is like back door.
Yo, I'm going top third.
He's close door, weak.
Bacali dead.
Dump.
I'm studying it. On point, somewhere. Close door. I think he's
Close right. Dead.
red, back in red. Dead. Nice, good job.
Bacali. Don't touch.
Nice.
I'm trying to watch my own pitch.
And the comms are great for the side of NYSL. They knew the plan that they need to execute. Take control of mid P5, have one player committing towards that flank in fire. They're able to get on this point, complete that first segment. So this is already great work from NYSL. The second segment is about to come in, but the pitch is coming in from Seattle. You have one player in accuracy hitting up back alley.
Actually trying to be the thorn in their side, pistol out. But that second segment does come through for New York. So even if they were to lose this round, as you said, Jay, a big moment there for the Subliners. They group up, and off of some great comms that we had the opportunity to listen to, the game plan does work out as Seattle try to reestablish themselves, get the momentum flowing heading in to this next round. Paul looks to put away one, a great little gunfight victory there for Mack, nearly finds his second. But Crim, he's not done. He is not done. He wants the other segment. Seattle out of the respawns, pistol out, stuns are there. Hydra combines for 2, and New York run their way right into that zone. One player left is gonna be Sib, hunted down and dropped. New York with a great attacking round, and maybe a sign of life in this series, Jay.
Such a massive round for NYSL. To at least complete 2 segments. The biggest thing that I took away from that is that they did not complete that B point. They got it done in kills. So now that puts them up by 5. If you're Seattle Surge, you need to just win this offense by completing both points. So they can have that defense if it does go to that round number 5. But you see all out pressure from NYSL. They know that they have to complete this B point. They're just gonna check right on the middle of the map. But Seattle Surge is gonna do the same exact thing that NYSL did in their previous offense. Secure A and then try to work towards B.
Yep, just capture that A zone, get it out of the way, and focus all of your attention toward the more difficult of the 2. This Pred trying to cause some issues early. As we said, it is all clear skies on that side of the map. Over at that A zone, no pressure whatsoever. As Mack lies in wait, relies on the comms from his teammates, trying to hype him up while he is just sitting and chilling. Pred versus Hydra, a great little duel there, but Hydra's able to take him down. Simp, despite really no team pressure, accuracy's a little late to the fight. I mean, not as in line as you would have preferred. Hydra walks away with the big one, escapes with 4 HP. Meanwhile, that time, that clock does get granted another minute on the board. Seattle, aggressive as ever it seems.
Yeah, Seattle just trying to set up the perfect play. One player playing slow towards train. They have 2 players trying to commit towards that flank. This player's in a great position to at least cause some problems, but he does get spotted. 2 of his teammates do drop. Look at the map control right now that NYSL have. They're so far pushed up on this train side. They're forcing all of Seattle Surge, consistently spawning at that water and forcing them to overextend. Accuracy does win that first gunfight onto Kismet. This is big. This is massive. This is massive. They're able to come out on top of these gunfights, but Kismet all spawn. Is able to at least find one. Does not find the trade on the accuracy, but at least stalls enough time for Hydra to get into play.
Hydra's able to stall them. Seattle really have made New York's base their own, and a few begin to fall. Crim called upon to try and drop some kills. Thankfully finds the one that he has to versus Pred, and Kismet will deliver the second. New York Feels like they're hanging on by a thread. A great little situation. They're ultimately for Seattle. Hydra having a phenomenal game at 27 and 18 drops. As the threats, the flanks continue to rain in from the surge. Could this be their opportunity? Could it be their moment to get some segments at that B zone?
Simp's just got to take his time. This is going to be a massive kill if he can pick this up onto Kismet. As he puts his team now in a 4v2 advantage. Two players have to try to go massive. Paulehx and Hydra. Paulehx does find one, but Pred on the flank finds that two-piece. Now his teammates can win the gunfight from the front, but unfortunately that gets shut down. Hydra in a great position on the top of that bookshelf to find that two-piece and shut down that push from the surge. Now Hydra knows the spawns. Unfortunately, he does get taken down, but a great hold from the Subliners to not allow Seattle to get any progression towards B.
Oh, and Kismet, he dies almost for free instead of P5. Thankfully, the trade is going to be in for Crim. Seattle just trying to toy across the map. Great little one there for Kismet. As he and Hydra, the SMGs of the Subliners, trying to lock it down themselves. No respawns left, and Pred comes through now on a 4 spree. Seattle charge on into this zone. 2 more kills left before we have a round 5. All on to Paulehx. All on to Mama X's baby boy in Seattle, thankfully, will reign true. They lock it down, and it's all based off the lives. We have got ourselves a round 5.
And believe it or not, NYSL, with the way they played that defense, that was the best way they could have done it. Not allowing any takes towards that B point, strictly just losing that round off of kills now secures them this defense going into this round number 5. Like I said, before this map even started, Seattle Surge were 100% on their offensive rounds. They just need to have an answer for this B point, have not been able to complete one segment yet.
Seattle will be on the attack here in this round number 5. Only player that's going to be here right now for New York is Kismet. He gets dealt with, so instantly it's a great spot for Seattle, right? Don't want to drop any unnecessary lives. Get that A zone done and out of the way, and really, if you want to, send a few stragglers forward. Try to get a few kills in the flank, and right now they have done so. They've sent Mack, or excuse me, they've sent aCBeZy, they've sent Pred to try to get some jobs done inside of the train station. Pred does sneak his way through, challenged instantly. Kismet there for the trade. aCBeZy, the first one, ended this B zone nice and pretty, but 3 fall, including the player who was on that A zone. So the time looks to tick away as Hydra deep in the base.
And Hydra's being such a nuisance. He pushes right on through that A point and is still causing problems in the spawn of the Seattle Surge players. And Simp does fine too. They're able to take care of Hydra as well. So now a majority of NYSL coming off spawn. Might be the perfect time to attack. Pred finds the first. You have to try to get out with your life. Unfortunately, he does get traded, but Seattle Surge up by 2 lives, 2 minutes to work with.
A lot of time to work with if you're Seattle. But again, they just continue to find themselves over at Cobble. On the back, New York is gonna have to turn around nice and fast. aCBeZy still here, aCBeZy still lingering, but Hydra, as we said, a phenomenal game for the French phenom, 34 and 21. Kismet right now finds himself on a 5 spree at Glide Bomb, and that really could be terrifying if you are the Surge, having to think about a streak possibly throughout the rest of this round. But New York, high and mighty, Crimsix specifically, does get taken down from his perch as Surge look to pile their way through that street side.
Yeah, they're just trying to push through that water side because still the positioning of Kismet is influencing the spawns for them to continuously spawn at that water area. But Kismet does get taken down. No Glide Bomb to work with now. As Seattle is going to try to set up this pinch once again, but 3 players go down. Now it's all on Mack. It's going to be the only player towards top middle plat. He gets shut down. And now NYSL with the minute left just need to hold 1 or 2 more good pushes, and this map will be theirs.
But we know how Berlin works from time to time. You get those few players down and some magic can happen. An instant turn of events can quickly occur. aCBeZy, the farthest pushed up player for Seattle, the captain of the team, trying to lead the way, lead to a 3-0 in the series. Job done, and Pred, working off that information, continues to pick up players toward the flank, aware of the spawns, trying to catch a few players in the back, but Hydra, a great one for him. Mack trying to hold steady inside of the office. He gets dropped as well. 20 seconds left in Seattle. very well may have lost their opportunity.
NYSL just way too aggressive, trading back and forth, but coming out on top in these engagements towards train. Last push coming in from Seattle. You got two players who are going to push in from the backside. NYSL just need to hold.
One more hold is all it's going to take. Paul and Hydra answer for two. It's on to accuracy. It's on to accuracy. Hydra will win that, and NYSL. Okay, they fought back. And despite no previous presence, really, on Berlin control, when they have to, dig deep and take down what feels like the Titans in control. Seattle, that beautiful streak, Jay, the 15-1 in rounds, the 5-0, not looking nearly as pretty now.
No, NYSL, they got the job done when they needed to, and that was securing their defensive rounds. I think the biggest thing for me on the defensive side was just not allowing any ticks towards that B point. Because when we get to that round number 5, in their previous offense, they were able to take 2. So that puts them up by 5 going into round number 5. Seattle Surge could not secure that defense for that round number 5. But Hydra, he steps up massively in this series. He was really kind of calm, like probably sleep in the first 2 maps. But 40 and 23, 30 non-traded kills, all in that control. For the very first time that NYSL played that one, now put them at 1-0 on Berlin. And now when we go into this map number 4, it gets kind of scary for the Surge.
It does, it absolutely does. We'll go and take a look before we get into that Gavutu, a few of the highlights throughout this Berlin, but as you said, Jay, Hydra had his signature all over this game, a game in which really they needed him to go off the most. Yeah. He drops 40 kills and is able to deliver. And I gotta say, man, like, it's just the way that you expect for majors to go. I feel like every time that we have a team that's been dominant on a map, they lose it at a major. A roster that's maybe yet to play a map, it feels like they are able to turn up when it comes down to major time. New York feeling the heat, and they're able to answer it back. But tell you what, man, what a great turn of events for New York. Maybe a new control that they will add now to the map vetoes.
And one thing that definitely you have to take into consideration is that Seattle Surge, they played this map all throughout stage 3. There's a lot of VOD sessions that you can look at how this team decides to play their offenses, how they decide to set up on their defenses. And on the opposite side for NYSL, there's absolutely nothing because they have not played this map. No VOD to watch besides probably scrims if you are recording those. But NYSL keep themselves alive in this series. Now we're going to go into a Gavutu Hardpoint, where it's kind of scary because Seattle Surge on that map are 0-5 on this map specifically. Have not found a lot of success for NYSL, sitting a little bit better at 2-3. But one thing that really stands out for me on this map specifically for the Surge is their P1. They only average about 10 seconds on P1, but they give up 40. Like, that is awful. There's no way you're going to be able to win a Gavutu Hardpoint if you're giving up that much time on P1. And
it's so weird, right? Because it feels like throughout Call of Duty history, it's always been like, yeah, you know, P1 is kind of like the town center. It's always going to be scrappy. Not really the case when it comes down to Vanguard. It feels like so many of our P1s, whether it's Tuscan, whether it's this map, it always feels like these are where sometimes games can start to slip away. And I mean, we have a number of different rosters who sometimes look to go for the rotation, kind of in that old COD mindset, if you will. I know like Toronto comes to mind from time to time, don't really like to play those middle hills, but tell you what, man, it can absolutely show off in spades and obviously indicate why we've seen Seattle not walk away with a single W. But when it comes down to this map specifically, I mean, who are the players that you're looking out for? I know it's typically an AR dominant map, but are you looking at any SMGs possibly, or maybe just a typical AR?
Oh, without a doubt, I'm definitely looking at Pred and Hydra. So far, throughout this series, Pred has answered early. Hydra finally woke up on that map specifically, puts up 40 kills, but you can see Hardpoint top performers, excluding map number 1, Pred sitting at a 1.05, Hydra sitting at a 1.09. Both of these guys, they play at tremendous pace. Like, when I look at both of these players, they're basically identical. The only thing that changes them is their country. Great stuff for both of these players to come out and make a statement. Hydra, like I said, finally joining this team in this series based off of that map number 3. Gonna really need that guy to step up and really lead the way for NYSL to try to force this game 5.
Right, no, and typically it was always like Hydra's just gonna have to have an unbelievably dominant performance, so this team just does not stand a chance. And like we said, after the additions of Paul, bringing in somebody like Kismet, along with the veteran presence of somebody like Crim, he finds himself in much more of a stable position as New York gonna have to rely upon him, gonna have to rely really upon the entire roster to generate what would be a reverse sweep in this series. First job gonna be done. Now, on to the Gavutu Hardpoint. As we get ready to fly in for this could be the opportunity for Seattle to also Like I said, Jay, it's been the day of walking away with maps that you don't often walk away with. Maybe it could be the same thing for Seattle here at Gavutu.
If they could just find that answer for that P1 hardpoint, it's going to be massive. Like I said, only averaging 10 points, giving up about 40, and winning rotation only 33% of the time. So if you find yourself early at that hardpoint, I'm pretty sure they have a 100% hold rate at P1 if they're fully set up. So that's going to be massive. On the side of NYSL, one hardpoint that they really struggle with is going to be that P3. P3, they have a break percentage of 18, where they're giving up only 18 points and they're averaging about 27. So that's going to be massive for them.
It'll definitely be big for either side, and really off the rip, the opening engagements without question favoring New York. Whether it's the early team kills or the SMG presence, it's been a great start for NYSL. Great work there from Crim toward the backside of the beach, but just like that, it is on Mack and Pred, the two up close and personal players, to quickly generate a bit of control their direction. But as we said, Gavutu, it is going to be a sweatfest. It's going to be a long game. It's just a matter of who can hold on for long enough, who can maybe make that one essential break in Seattle. A great job just to hop back inside of this HP. They will have the lead as we head now toward bottom boat.
That's a great early answer from Seattle. But Shield Swans, they do flip. So now NYSL going to be fully set up towards the ship side. Paulehx and Hydra cutting off top cliff. Able to come out in those engagements. Simp going to try to do everything he can to stay alive towards the middle, but he eventually does get taken down. You have one player in Mack who's going to commit on that flank. Finds himself through P1, should be able to cut a couple players off from front green. And with his teammates winning those engagements, only one player closest to this point, it's going to be Crim. He gets taken down in Seattle. A successful break.
Successful break there from Surge once more. And really, it's been Pred leading the way, whether it's been at P1 or in this current hill at P2. So far on the season, not a great performance in Gavutu. Rocks at 0.79 KD. They will absolutely need their aBeZy to perform, to go off in a situation and really in a moment where they cannot allow for New York to smell some blood in the water, to get some momentum toward their direction as we prepare for next. It currently is going to be the Subliners with that spawn control, but as we saw, really throughout this series, it is flank after flank, something that you can expect for Seattle to do every time. Hydra, there to read it.
Now NYSL found themselves fully set up for this P3 hardpoint. This is the one that they tend to struggle with on this map. When they are not set up, they have a 0% break percentage on this hill, but that's going to be 3 down. This is the time where Seattle are going to be able to break in from the front, not NYSL. Had to try to break it with the spawn towards the back. Perfect case scenario right now if you're Seattle, if you can hold this front and potentially chain it to that P4. But NYSL able to get back onto that hard point. Climbing, only down by 15 points. Seattle still putting a lot of pressure from the front. Mack trying to stay alive from first cut. Just at least contesting it for now, but with only 20 seconds left, you see Seattle, they know that they secured these spawns for the next. They just cannot allow any players to slip through ship, but with Kismet finding that 2-piece, NYSL, they're going to be able to flip those spawns.
They do flip the spawns instantly, so like we said, the heads-up play out of New York during the back of the base. What do? Hey, let's just break out of this bad boy. We realize that Surge have done their darndest. They've done a great job at shutting us down at beach, but now they can instantly counter with a great hold at our next hard point, down but by no means out. aBeZy gonna look to try to guide the comms, lead the troops throughout what will be a very difficult break at this hard point. Never a guarantee when it comes down to it. 45 seconds left, time already beginning to tick. Surge, an instant need of a reply, and well, they're not getting that at all.
Yeah, Surge are not gonna commit to at least breaking this from the back. They want to try to trap them in from the front, and they're winning every single gunfight to do so. As you're going to have one NYSL player who actually spawns all the way across the map towards Red Tower. So Seattle are going to put themselves in the advantage, but Hydra all spawn all the way at Red Tower, is able to find that 2-piece. And now this is the best case scenario for NYSL. 20 seconds remaining on this B4. They can chain it to that B5 and take the lead.
They do. They instantly flip. A great opportunity quickly for New York. Granted, aBeZy trying to make the heads-up play and go for the rotation. Basically a search-destroy type of moment, not able to deliver. Hydra cuts him down, and the Subliners can be very happy, Jay, with the way that that hardpoint ends out. Hey, we end up flipping spawns, no big deal. We grab a majority of those seconds, and now we've got ourselves lined up to take the lead.
Now they just have to have a great hold on P5. We have one player in Simp to commit towards that pinch, while his teammates are trying to attack this from the front. Simp, unfortunately, is going to give up his positioning, but Mack and aBeZy answer at least with 2 kills from the front side. So at least relieve a little bit of that pressure, but now it's time for Simp on that flank. Bottom Red Tower goes massive, finds a 2-piece, and Prep breaks in from his 2-piece from the front. So now NYSL, even though they are spawning in towards back red tower, you have Hydra, who spawns behind them at Cliff, so he's going to be the player off the rotation that needs to win massive gunfights.
Definitely going to have to, as we said, that P1 going to tell the story, at least for Seattle. It has so far throughout their winless spree. Right now on this very map and mode, Accuracy trying to apply the pressure quickly inside of the beach, cut Crim out of this very, very big spot. Good work for the Nades, the SMG shots to rain on through. It's surged with early time in New York. Now in a mode where they have to try to break. Kismet just really flies on forward, and a ton of teammate support. Somewhat staggered as Crim falls as well. Seattle pick them apart again. No kills on the side of New York. 4, 5 hit the deck quickly.
And now Seattle Surge is just going to push out, be super aggressive, create layers on this P1. So you can basically have it uncontested. Seattle, with 30 seconds left, is going to be able to take the lead right on back. You see, NYSL do come on top in a couple of these engagements. 25 seconds remaining on this point. NYSL are going to execute the break perfectly, not give up such a great amount of junk time, and take the lead right on back. But now it opens up the rotation. Crim does find one onto Pred, but one player does slip through in Civ. What can he do?
See if Civ can make the play. In a great spot, meanwhile, Crim. A lot of Seattle players around him. We'll see if he can handle all of that pressure, all of that presence. He eventually gets dropped. And again, it's just been Jay. I mean, just a matter of you flip spawns, we flip spawns. We've got time, you've got time. The definition feels like of Gavutu. As both of these teams, so hard fought, do not want to get sitting down to that elimination bracket to kick this one off. As we said, Seattle led the way dominantly through our first two. New York coming out big on that Berlin control, and really a map that they haven't played a lot in this next one, Gavutu, right? This is the second time they've played it with this very lineup in uncharted territories throughout our last two games. This one included. Mack's able to deliver with Zoo and trying to catch New York off guard.
Now with 20 seconds left, this remaining time is going to go to Surge, but you want to make sure that you're trying to flip these spawns. But Fred does try to sneak on through, but Paulehx sniffs him out. So now this is going to force Seattle Surge to try to break it from the front side. The second go around, as you have Sib, who's going to hold down towards his top P1 control. The rest of his teammates are all going to be spawning out behind him. Sib's going massive, at least finds that first blood. Hydra, the only player on this position, gaining some time for NYSL. This needs to be a great hold from NYSL. You cannot allow Seattle Surge to trap you in towards the back.
Yeah, you don't want to allow for them to give you, rather to take away any of these seconds, especially when New York can back up for the spawns. Well, just as we talk about spawns, they flip. Seattle now we're going to be set up for next with 30 very valuable points at our current hill. Toward the beach, it is Hydra, the lifeguard, patrolling the beaches of Gavutu. Now on a 5 spree, eventually dropped, and now it comes down to Paul. He falls as well, but the trades eventually do favor New York. It was Seattle with spawns early. It's New York with spawns late. And now the Surge preparing for next, trying to hunker down and get ready to maybe take the lead after what has been a very back and forth game 4, Jay.
This needs to be the answer right here for the Surge. If you allow NYSL to break into this hard point, they would be able to break it and chain it to that P5. So it's all on Sib if he can hold down this ship positioning. As him and Brett combine for 2. You have Kismet though, who actually sneaks his way in through Cliff. He's gonna force those spawns for NYSL towards the back. That might look like a good play, but this can come back to bite them if NYSL do get trapped in towards the back. You have one player in Crim who's going to be that player at least flanking from top Cliff. Time still going in favor of the Surge, but that's going to be 3 dead in the feed. Mack, the only player up. He gets taken down, and the spawns flip right on back. NYSL get the break.
Flip after flip. Now it's Seattle working from the back. It looked like a chokehold that could have been established from Seattle as Paul erupts for a few. It just feels like every time a player goes on a spree, a nade quickly lands at their feet. But take a look at the map positioning that NYSL have right now. Nobody is dropping. The ARs are frying. And as the final 10 seconds look to float away at P4, the Subliners can just back on up and get set up for new as Crim is frying, earns the glide bomb. And as we said, New York in the best of positions. Seattle gonna have to work for every single inch as they make their way across the map.
The GOAT is stepping up on this map 4 to try to at least force game 5. On this map specifically, sitting at a .88 with 26 and 21. So far dominating this game. He still has that glide bomb to work with, but Seattle Surge needs to execute this break. The glide bomb is going to get invested. Can he at least take down one? He does in Pred. So now 235 and climbing for NYSL. They can close it out here on P5.
They can indeed. Accuracy tries to make the play up close and personal with the Automaton. Shots raining in, back and forth, but Seattle ultimately losing the trades. New York still with the time. New York still with the time. Managed to force the game 5. As we said, in uncharted territory, it feels like. No previous reps on Berlin Control and only 1 rep on Gavutu Hardpoint with this lineup. But they have dug deep and now bring us to a game 5, buddy.
Insane stuff from NYSL. The bad hardpoint that they had was P3, and the second go around on rotations, they were able to hold it for about 45 seconds. That was the difference in this game. But when you look at the first rotations of the Surge, when you go towards that P3, they execute a beautiful break on P3, but you simply don't have a player backed all the way up towards that P4 tower to where you allow NYSL to basically get the spawns for free. Like, you win a 2-piece up towards that ship's side, and then with that 2-piece, they just immediately spawn towards the back. And it's the same thing that happened for P5 as well. When Hydra spawns all the way out towards Red Tower, Hydra finds that 2-piece into the middle of the map, and then you flip the spawns to the Surge to now be trapped in the back of P4. Surge made a lot of mistakes in that hardpoint to eventually cost them, but NYSL were able to capitalize on every single one of them. Now we're going into a game 5 on Tuscan SD, where I feel like both of these teams are sitting 50-50. I have no idea who's going to be able to walk away with this series.
What a way to start off Major 3. I mean, what, we had like 0 game 5s, maybe 1 throughout our Major 3 qualifiers. Yep. We enter in to LAN, and we've already got ourselves a game 5 thriller. We thought it was going to be a closely contested one, and while it didn't start off that way, it has absolutely showed itself out in spades. And Jay, I really don't know how to call this one. I have no idea. I feel like New York, without question, has the momentum flowing right now, but you just never know with the boys on Seattle.
It's just like 5-4, 4-5. Like I'm saying, both of these guys are neck and neck going into this S&D, so I have no idea who's going to be able to win.
No idea, but it's going to be a fun one, folks. Make sure to stay with us. Make sure to be using that hashtag on Twitter, hashtag CDL2022. Let us know who you think is going to walk away with it. New York versus Seattle. The conclusion up next.
Duty League. Unleash your potential.
The Call of Duty League is brought to you by TeamSpeak, the official broadcast communication partner of the Call of Duty League.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our first series here at the Toronto Major, and it has been a wild one. Seattle Surge versus the New York Subliners. We could be in the midst of a reverse sweep for New York. Seattle trying to answer back after 2 straight losses, but it has been a crazy and fun series up to this point. And Jay, I have no idea how to call this. I have no idea who's going to walk away with this.
This is going to be such a close game 5 between both of these teams. Like I said before we went to break, 5-4 record for Seattle Surge, 4-5 record for NYSL. The only big difference on this map is the offensive attacks of both of these teams. For Subliners, it's going to be a 38% win rate on the offensive side. Okay. On the opposite side for Surge, 47% win rate. So that's going to be massive. So whichever team is going to be able to walk away with more offenses on this map is going to be able to win it. But the 2 players that I'm really looking at to step up on this map specifically, statistically wise, all season, these 2 players have really been struggling. It's going to be Hydra on this map specifically sitting at a 0.68, and on the opposite side, it's going to be Mack sitting at a 0.72. So both of these guys, tremendous playmakers for their rosters, need to step up in this game 5 when it matters.
Without question, players that have to step up, teams that desperately need a W. When we talk about this tournament and we talk about overall CDL points, moving into champs at the end of the season. Toronto, I'm going to turn to you. Who do you think is going to walk away with this game 5? Make some noise if you think it's going to be Seattle. On the other side, who thinks that New York is going to take this game 5? I think a few more favoring the Subliners as we get into Tuscan at Seattle to strike first.
Simp finds that first blow onto Kismet, being a little bit too aggressive in towards that middle alley. Now Hydra is left out by himself. Gonna basically force both NYSL players to back up towards B. Thinking that the attack is gonna come in, but Seattle Surge is just playing it nice and slow. Trying to at least find a positioning of Hydra, and Hydra should be able to at least make it a 3v3 and get out with his life. Beautiful play.
You saw Hydra as well. He was prepared for a second one. Trying to make their way out of P5. Great job done from the Frenchman to even up the numbers now to 3 versus 3. I believe with New York, they've got everybody stacked up. Accuracy could be aware of it, gets the information, backs on up. As that plant is going to be through, New York have got to work quick, but they've got to be prepared for accuracy. Does not spot Hydra, who's now found his 2nd kill of the round. Numbers in favor of New York as they look to fly in toward the bomb site. Mack, the first one to try and reply. Toward the field he goes, and a ton of automaton shots to work with, and he gets brought down. And just like that, New York retake the site.
In a 4v3 as well. Great work from NYSL, especially Hydra, to get that kill and get out with his life. But then on accuracy, he rotates back of the spawn towards back. Fountain plays it beautifully, but does not spot Hydra. Leaves that opening there, and eventually they turn it into a 3v2. I thought Mack was going to be able to find that kill onto Paul, but Paul, Chance always says it, like he wins gunfight, he definitely should not. And that's going to be NYSL taking the first one.
It looks like you and Hydra chopping up about it. Like, I don't know how I got that, but hey, we'll take it. We'll take the first round. As now we've got our round 2 up, ready, and prepared to go. New York with the early answer. And now it'll be their chance here at the attack. Kismet, of course, with the bomb in hand. With the guidance of Crimsix, they will not just go through middle, but also look to get inside a church. Fred with some shots does not deliver. Sim's able to find one on the Kids. Crim with the reply. So Seattle got the information that they wanted, and now New York are going to look to pick up that bomb, but they are not going anywhere. They go for the fast pivot, and now they're looking to get that bomb down at B. Paul, not too far away.
But accuracy's in a great position to at least find one. Crim's able to slip right on through underneath him.
No way.
And accuracy's just going to hop the bomb. Just going to hop the bomb, but Crim finds him. So now in the 3v2, Crim's able to at least spot both of these players towards Church Alley. Now in the 2v2, Mack and Pred versus Paul and Hydra.
Paul, great one there on to Mack once more. Back-to-back rounds, all on to the Aussie, a 1v2. And a lot of work to be done as well. Trying to defend it with all that he's got. Rounds the corner, gets dropped, and just like that, New York starting to feel themselves. The Red Menace is waking up, and that is 2 to start.
NYSL, they just found the opening right there. They had Seattle Surge had not a single player watching towards the middle of the map. They had 3 players commit towards A and then try to watch middle through U. But when Kismet gives us a positioning from inner U, they fully commit towards bottom church. They find that trade onto Sib, and then aggreSy, I thought he was in a great position to at least stop that bomb plant. Crib was able to get him and get out with his life, and then eventually shut down that ninja defuse. That's a massive round from NYSL to now put themselves up 2-0.
Big one to start. Pred looks to hold the angle. Kismet is not far away. As he rounds the corner, a big first blood, and Matthew Tinsley is able to deliver not just one. Thought it was going to be 2, but Sib thankfully is there for the trade. Mack as well. Able to find one on the Crib. Mack continues to melt. And now it is all on to Paulehx, a 1v3, and what a round it could be. Lays down some fire onto aggreSy, goes for the instant challenge. Bomb does get planted. And position known. Sib and aggreSy, a lot of information and some great positions to work off of.
You know that aggreSy is going to be towards top fire. Now Sib gives up his positioning. From aggreSy, you do not want to peek this, but Sib plays it beautifully. Great crossfire setup from the Seattle Surge. Even after getting first blooded, they go massive, winning a majority of those gunfights towards the middle of the map, especially coming out on top in the engagements. And 3v1, I thought if Paul could have gotten Mack before he gets that bomb down, he stands a way better chance at winning the round. But when both players are just spread across the map, watching towards the middle, have a crossfire beautifully set up, Seattle Surge are able to walk away with the round.
Gonna be a sigh of relief right now for Seattle. Does not want to go down 3-0 to kick off this search and destroy. In fact, the only game 5 that they went to in the Major 3 qualifiers was versus Toronto on Tuscan. They got 6-0'd. So it's not been great recently on this map, but thankfully, as we said, they get a round on the board, and now they're back in it. And we're back in it as well. A lot of presence toward this A site. Kismet looks to get it down nice and early. Not a whole lot of presence right now from Seattle toward the field at all, Jim, but they find the first blood regardless.
Yeah, massive first blood from aggreSy. Unfortunately, not able to take down the bomb planter in Kismet. And Hydra evens it up and makes it a 3v3. Now with 40 seconds left, you have one player in Pred who's just trying to time his flank through that P5 area at the right time, but Kismet actually commits towards bottom church. He finds that kill. Hydra pounces through the middle of the map. Now it's all on Pred in the 1v3.
Oh, the 1v3 comes around the corner and gets met with some fire. And you see Kismet as well.
Fired up, man.
He is. And right now, if you're New York, I mean, you need that energy. You need to keep that momentum flowing, as we said, in the midst of trying to make the reverse sweep. They felt flat, felt very flat in the first 2 games. And they've answered back in the biggest of moments. Only the second game 5 that this New York Subliners team has been in with Kismet in the lineup. Obviously, the experience is without question there, but uncharted territory. Seeing a mode twice that they don't often like to play. Great beginning though, up 3 rounds to 1. Seattle maybe toying at a B plant.
Look how much ground NYSL just covered. They know that the push has to be coming in towards B. And Paulehx does a great job of gaining out with his life. The aggreSy has deadly stun grenades and is able to find that first blood. But so much pressure from NYSL, they commit towards the late flank. Crim evens up the numbers, makes it a 3v3. Now it's Hydra's time to strike. Kismet does get taken down by Hydra. Might find the opening. He does get spotted by Pred. So now this should be a free B bomb plant from the Surge. Now in the 3v2.
Hydra narrowly stays alive as well, so he and Crim a much better chance to work on this retake. Current 3 versus 2 favoring Seattle. Sib with a nice angle has got that back alley covered. Back tank is not going to be an easy position right now for Paco. Hydra trying to catch the shoulder, get some information, slides through the tank. It should be made quick work of. In fact, it's the stun that actually ends up dropping him. Crim finds 1. He's got 2 more still to handle. This looks like a round that's going to go the way of Seattle. The GOAT hunting, searching for anybody he could find a near turn on. There for Mr. Crimsix, but Seattle sweat off the brow, get their second.
Basically an impossible round to win when you're getting 2 kills with stun grenades on the side of Seattle Surge. Very unfortunate for NYSL, but that's going to be Seattle slowly getting back into this game. Now 2 rounds in a row. They just need to find some success on their defenses, because NYSL, they're just taking mid-map control every single time. I would like to see Seattle just try to be super aggressive towards mid, and basically force them to commit towards one of these sites.
The one guy who's usually aggressive in those positions, Jay, is going to be Pred. 0-5 right now make it 0-6. Wow, kill away from the agency as New York strikes it, fires out the shot with the sniper, and well, it's a 1v4. So best of luck with that. Job done and dusted as New York handle business and then some.
New York are not slowing down their aggression. They said, you guys have not been taking mid-map control every single time you guys are on defense. They tried to do it that round, but that was great shots from Crim to find that opening, and then they shut down Pred as well. Immediately a 4v2. NYSL not slowing it out into the search and destroy, puts them up 4-2. And we talked about it, the players that needed to step up, Hydra currently sitting at 5-3. On the opposite side, Mack at 5-5, but the player you talked about, Pred, at 0-6, needs to turn it around.
This guy trying to turn it around. Another first blood on this. I'm really in favor of New York. Simp hits the deck. Mack goes down as well. Pred and accuracy. Well, they at least get assisted by the team kill, so Hydra's out of the way. And Pred saying, yo, Lamar, let's just walk away with this round. Let's get something on the board. Hit Nobu after this one is over. Let's hope that we can get a W, but it's going to come down to the swing round. A big moment in this game for Seattle, and what a time it could be. A 2v4 clutch on the cards as Crim looks to reposition and really group up with the squad mates now.
Actually does spot one player, but Pred is going to give his positioning up. Multiple players from NYSL trying to commit towards this gunfight, but Pred does make it a 2v2. Crim's going to slide in for the challenge, but accuracy there for the assistance. Now what goes from a 3v2 is now a 1v2 left up to Kismet.
What a round it could be for the new guy on the block. Like we said, has not seen a LAN environment in some time. A 1v2 clutch would be perfect. Would be the nail in the coffin for New York, but Seattle, that magic, they've got it for the time. Here comes Kismet, ready for the challenge. Looking for an angle, looking for anybody to poke away at. Accuracy looks to give away his position, and just like that, brings it to a 1v1.
1v1, 25 seconds.
Spotted him.
Both players spot each other. But if you're Pred, all you want to do is play your life. Kismet, great S&D mine. He's going to patiently wait, but Pred attacks it from bottom church. Great repositioning from him, and finally gets on that board. Picks up 2 kills in that round to avoid being James Bond of this series.
And 2, you can't afford to give that away.
No, 4v2.
A 4v2 and a team kill.
Tacticals are costing them.
They are. They are absolutely costing them. That is going to sting if you are NYSL. I mean, you're looking at a 5-2 round, or rather a 5-2 game, 9 times out of 10. They give it away, and now they've given Seattle a bit of life, especially with Pred. Answering early is the accidental team kill. Mack goes down off the rip. Team kills are the story. Goodbye to Pred. 2v3. As accuracy looks to put Kismet in the dirt, it's the nade over the top that brings our numbers that much more away from each other. Simp accuracy. Now bring it to a 1v1. The Iceman versus Paulehx, and it's Paul every day of the week. Not giving away that round. Not this time. And Kismet says, it's time to calm it down.
Yeah, we gotta calm down after that round. That was an intense round from both teams. Obviously, Simp comes out an unfortunate snipe onto Mack. And then when Crim finds that first kill, it forces it immediately into a 4v2. But then Simp wins a gunfight across the map, and I thought accuracy, he was dead to rights. You had 2 players with the SMGs top church. He jumps out towards the middle of the map, but he finds that kill. At least forces it to a 1v1, but Paulehx able to come out on top. So now NYSL at game point, and look at the aggression once again from Kismet right up middle alley.
He said to slow it down, but this man is not playing slow at all. Without question, the farthest pushed up player, finding himself behind enemy lines, but what can he do? With the information, is Mack gonna know that he's here? Or Seattle gonna sniff out this play that Kismet really has been doing a lot so far throughout this Tuscan. It's the first blood, but Simp quickly traded upon. Kismet trying to be the playmaker, but Pred able to strike again in the middle of the map, like you said, Jay. Such a scary player. And an environment like that now gives Surge the numbers as they look to lay down the bomb.
Down to 3v2, Paulehx actually gets great timing on this late flank. What kind of information can Crimsix, the GOAT, give towards his teammates? As Paulehx is going to be the player to watch, but with Crim dropping, now Paul even though he has a great positioning on the map. Very difficult task to get done. He is gonna spot Mack. Early shots do come in. Mack is able to walk away with the gunfight. And Seattle Surge stay alive a little longer.
They stay alive. Not out of this one just yet. And my goodness, what a series this has been. Both teams do not want to see the elimination bracket. As we said, the CDL points are everything right now for both of these teams, especially the boys in yellow. A round away from locking this one up, completing the reverse sweep, or will the Surge send us to a Game 5, round 11 to kick off our major? It's all based off the first blood, and it's the aBeZy once more, there to deliver. The SMGs are hungry right now. Pratt finds another. Surge, 4v2 instantly.
Pratt, he finds his third in the round. And we're going to a 5-5. Pred just took that round completely over. Dominates the mid-map by winning that first gunfight. Wins a huge second gunfight onto Hydra and bottom Fountain. And then the third one, right up middle alley, the SMG in Pred came to play. Like I said, he was 0-6 at a point. Turned this game completely around to 6-7. And now we're going to none other than a round 11.
A Game 5, round 11 to kick off the Toronto Major. You could not ask for better than this. Here we go. Seattle on the attack, and boy, do they have an interesting strategy brewed up for us. It looks to be that B hit off the rip. Paulehx called upon. Mack with the instant trade. Now brings it to a 3v3. Shots continue to rain throughout Tuscan. Mack staying alive, bomb in his back.
Yeah, I can't believe Paul finds that kill to at least even up the numbers before he does drop. Now it's gonna be full on commitment towards B. Aggresy does slip his way into back alley, but Hydra able to save his teammate in Crim. Now puts them in the 3v2. And Kismet's not slowing down. Kismet at least is gonna force them to rotate this bomb over towards A. And just look at the play from NYSL. They're all playing this really slow. Free bomb plant over towards that A site. Now in the 3v2 retake.
Here it comes. Civ, a pick would be huge.
Takes through again.
Do they officially? Kismet right around the corner, able to find him, brings it to a 2v2 and narrowly escapes with his life. Crim not far behind. Oh my goodness, what a shot from Civ. Now brings it to a 1v1. Mack versus Hydra for the game. Down 5-3 in the S&D, and Seattle awake again. It felt like New York had everything going for them. That reverse sweep energy was coming into this Game 5. But as we know with this team, you can never count them out. As we said, a 5-3 comeback into Game 5 and a 2v3 clutch. Clearly, Jay, the GP on GD was to walk away with a clutch game, and they are able to do it. What a match to kick off Toronto.
Game 5, round 11 between two great teams, two teams that we think can win this entire thing. Seattle Surge come out with the game plan. Right there, NYSL, they did a great job of just every single round on defense, taking map control, super aggressive in towards mid. They're basically shutting down that A attack from Seattle Surge every single round. But in the 3v2, once they rotate this bomb over towards A, it all falls on Simp. Simp was that player in towards top fire. He spots one player that's committing towards that late flank, and then immediately turns around through the middle alley, finds that kill onto Crim to at least force it into a 2v2. And then when it comes down to the 1v1, Max puts himself in the best position possible to secure that round for his team. We said it before the S&D even started. The two players that we needed to see step up on this map had to be Hydra and Mack. And what do you know? Both of them get left in a 1v1 for the bread in this game number 5. And Mack is able to walk out on top. If you just give me a breakdown of this series, because obviously NYSL, they just simply come in and struggle in their search and destroy. They lose the first one in a 6-2. They lose the last one all the way into round 11. But just looking at both of the searches for NYSL, a lot of clutches, a lot of 2v4s, 2v3s, huge 1v1s that they didn't go their way. Series could have went either way for both of these teams, but Seattle, a little bit more ice in their veins. They got the Iceman. And take a look at this highlight from Simp. He finds that first kill onto Kismet and then finds his second onto Crim. And then you see there's only 20 seconds left on the clock. Mack repositioned himself towards that back. Hydra does not check the corner. And right there, Mack secures the win for his team as Seattle Surge continue forward.
And you see the way the crowd reacts to it. As we said, we've got ourselves an incredible slate of matches. We thought this one had the chance to go the distance, and it did exactly that. A Game 5, round 11, and for New York, it is all out frustration. As we said, when it comes into CDL points, it felt like a game they had to take, and now they find themselves in elimination round. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. The fact that what they were doing, the pace that they were on, it felt like this game was New York's. And again, Jay, it comes down to the search and destroys. 2 for 2 for Seattle. S&D wins chips, baby.
S&D does win chips, but especially for NYSL. I feel like they didn't wake up until the third map of this series. They came out really flat in map number 1. Both SMGs go like -10, and in the search and destroy, accuracy really didn't have to do anything but call out the player on cross. You have to make adjustments on that and not give up that A site so easily. And then eventually they come back into that control. They bounce back in there. Then they go to that map 4 on Gavutu. They were able to execute a great hold on P3 to close out that map. But then on that last map, it just simply comes down to clutches, just like map number 2. 4v2s, you have to make sure that you're securing those. You cannot allow clutches to happen.
Yeah, you cannot allow for clutches to happen. As we said, Seattle able to weather the storm, a 3v5 comeback in that Game 5. And speaking of clutches, it's now time to send it over to Bryce, who's with the king of clutch, our Game Fuel Victory Spotlight with accuracy.
All right, thank you very much. We are here ready for an incredible crowd, and joining me, obviously, Seattle Surge's very own accuracy. So, lots of questions to ask on this one. The first one I was going to say, grueling series for you. How are you?
I mean, I feel good. It wouldn't be a round 11. Like, it wouldn't be a Seattle Surge series if it didn't go round 11. So we're used to it. We live for those moments, and it was good to get that type of pressure out of the way on the first match of the tournament.
Yeah, a lot of pressure. Speaking of pressure, let's wind our mind back to Berlin S&D. 1v2 clutch. Now, in those scenarios, I always feel like time moves a little bit differently, but you held that flank angle for so long. What was going through your mind, and can you talk us through that play?
Honestly, I felt like I was just reading them like a book right there. I knew that they weren't going to insta-hop the bomb, so I knew they were getting kind of shook, and I just had to check at the last second because no one's just going to insta-hop it.
That's why they call you the Iceman, right? That's why they call you the Iceman. How was everybody feeling? Because obviously, let's be perfectly honest here. Cusp of a reverse sweep, a lot of pressure coming through it as well. What were the team's comms like, and what did you say to each other like in that kind of scenario?
We were just loading into map 5 saying like, yo, don't worry about the last 2 maps, it's all good, we made some mistakes, just focus up on this map 5. And round by round, when we were going down, it was getting a little more pressure, a little more intense. But those are the moments that bring out the best in us, and we live for that.
Awesome, you certainly do live for it as well. And this is another thing, like Seattle Surge have, and I've said it, inconsistencies throughout the season. This is now your 5th win in a row. What adjustments have you made to essentially put yourselves back at the forefront of CDL?
The biggest thing was for us was just replicating what we do in practice in the matches. It's a saying I've been saying now in all the interviews. We just stick to the GP on GD, stick to the game plan on game day, and just play consistent Call of Duty.
Oh, I love that. Stick to the game plan, always stick to the game plan. All right, one more time, please give it up for Seattle Surge and accuracy. It's been a glorious game so far and so much to break down. So, Desk, over to you.
I love it. Hearing the crowd's reaction right now is great. The Subliners tried to put New York on the map, but that reverse sweep was just out of pocket, and Seattle wasn't having it. The boys were surging in the alley. What I love about it, everybody put in work.
Everybody put in work, and I feel like everybody was electrified throughout this matchup. When Seattle went up 2-0, it was kind of like, oh man, this is a little bit of a smoke show.
It was over.
And then that control happened, right? And Seattle has an 88% defensive win rate when it comes to control, and what does New York do? They win their opening offense, and then suddenly the tables were turned, and I think the biggest thing for me was that opening hardpoint. I thought it was going to be Pred versus Hydra. You know, we have the graphic of their stats. You know, it's Pred versus Hydra, the two young guns. It was Mack that had Hydra's number this entire series. If you watch the mini-map and you watch the kill feed, it was always Mack getting behind the lights of the New York Subliners and catching them in the back, specifically catching Hydra in the back. And I feel like that's why we saw a little bit of a different side to Hydra today.
Yeah.
He was a little slower. He didn't find his pacing until later in the series, and that's because of Mack throwing it off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really agree with that. I really think this series just comes down to the search and destroys. Like, I thought New York and the respawns were particularly great. I even think they started off hot. Like, they were up on that map
first
one,
hard point,
right?
yeah.
And then it was really just a sloppy rotation. Like, Seattle held P1 and then had a perfect rotation P2. They got broken P3. It was game over from there. Like, Seattle had all the momentum for the rest of that map. But games 3 and 4, I love what I saw to New York. The search and destroys, though, Seattle was just so prepared.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there was no answer in playing those rounds on Berlin search and destroy. I mean, the 1v2 we just saw, like, right there, you know he's going to be playing the clutch spot. It's
Always.
accuracy. He's going to be sitting in the back playing the 1v2 spot, trying to get the kill off the bomb, but he doesn't peek at all, right? And they should have pushed it out. And then we saw multiple rounds where they were playing off the information on the cross. They'd wrap the bomb back towards A. It was a key to victory, for God's sake, that their most successful push is their A push, their fast A, right? But they add a little bit of spice to it this time, right? Like waiting and then wrapping back. That is preparation, and Seattle clearly had that. The game plan on game 5 for New York, it was working out, but the adjustments set in, and New York wasn't able to clutch up, man. That's a tough loss.
And New York dropped a lot of advantages in that last search and destroy as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket to see what's next for New York, because Merc, they're going to face the London Royal Ravens, and this is it for a team that needs points, for a team that needs to go deep in this event. This could be it if they can't get that win.
I mean, we saw Guerrillas do it, right? Last major, right? They lost in winners round 1, and then they got going. And yes, New York, I think, you know, I expect them to beat London Royal Ravens with the form that they've looked in. But you never know. You never know what London can come out with. We've seen them, right, just have an up and down year.
London.
But for New York, yeah, it is absolutely desperation time. I mean, if they needed to clutch that up, it doesn't happen. Now you go to the elimination bracket. It has to be perfection from this point on.
That has to be one of the most painful losses, right, as well, for a team that was riding on so much momentum after the Pro-Am to just get stopped in winners round 1 of Major 3. That's a lot of stop in their likes, and now they have to go against the London Royal Ravens, which, yes, the London Royal Ravens have been seriously struggling as of late, but it's not been like a player that hasn't been able to slay out. Like, their teamwork just hasn't gelled, and if for some reason, like we've seen with teams in the past at majors, something just happens to click with them before the run starts, it could be very dangerous for New York Subliners.
Right now, for those of you at home, for those of you even in the audience, listen, you can look like the pros and also play like them as well. We have team packs on sale. You can get your operator skins, weapon camos, watches, emblems, and calling cards for your favorite squads. But coming up next is going to be a fun one. Right? And yo, Nameless, this is what we've all been waiting for. We have Atlanta FaZe facing off against who?
I mean, it's going to be lit. The Toronto Ultra. We're in the 6 for a reason. I see a lot of Canadians around me. They're going to have to make some noise because their team is going to need it, man. These guys have had battles in the past. Coming up next, we have an absolute banger. Atlanta FaZe versus the Toronto Ultra.